Thank you so much for making time to join the Share and Learn rather than enjoy the sunshine that I can see in all of your backgrounds. My name's Aaron Dryden. As Ellie said, I'm Director of Carer Support here at Carers UK, and I'm new to the organisation. So this is actually my first Share and Learn, and I'm really pleased to join you all today. My caring has been a part of my life since a very early age. I was a carer for a parent from about the age of 3 onwards in different capacities. Obviously, there wasn't much I could do at that age, but I had some support responsibilities that have come and gone throughout my life. So it's always been a part of my life. And I've worked for the last 20 something years in the disability sector and with supporting carers and disabled people in those dynamics. So again, caring's been a thread professionally as well as personally for me. So I was really pleased to be asked to help out and put together some pointers around everyday technology that can help. And today's emphasis is on the sorts of things that are available mainstream, online, on your phones, or little gadgets that can make life easier, be it for yourself in your day-to-day life, for your cared for person, or to actually help you in your caring role. So the 4 areas I'm going to focus on today are an introduction to some websites that have useful information on them, looking at comparison sites that you can use to help with your bills and to find the cheapest possible options for you, or the best possible options for you, smartphone features and apps, so how you can use your phone maybe a bit differently than you usually do, and a little bit on connected devices. So this is a sort of things like home automation and those sorts of devices that can connect to the internet and to your phone to help make life a bit easier for you. So I'm going to run through those, the first being websites for info. So I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the Carers UK website, which, as you're online, I guess a lot of you will have accessed before, but the areas, we're in the process of renewing our website, and we'll have a completely new look coming very soon. So you'll be able to find all the information that helps you a lot easier, and there'll be more features on there to help. But at the moment, I just wanted to flag up the help and advice section here, which is where we've got all of our toolkits, our videos, our info sheets and fact sheets there. We also have the forum, which you can get to quickly using this link here. The forum is a perk of membership if you're not already a member. You can see the forum if you're a non-member, but you can actually post and reply by joining Carers UK for free. And that's one of the big perks of membership that a lot of carers find really useful, to get support from one another and to share your experiences. So that's really useful. And if you're new to caring, which I don't know if any of you are, we have the upfront guide, which is available, where you put in a few details about yourself and your caring role, and it gives you some tailored information to help you navigate all the stuff that's out there. So upfront is also a really good feature that you can find by going through into help and advice, which is this one here. The NHS website is a very straightforward homepage at the moment, but has some really key information on it. So the big links here are the health A to Z, where you can put in something like a condition, symptoms, things like that, and find out more about it. And then the medicines A to Z is a really good one if you are yourself or you're caring for somebody that has a lot of medicines and you want to be able to read up more about them. You can find information on them here following this link. Obviously, at the moment, COVID is still at the forefront of our thinking. So the section on the COVID resources and what to do if you suspect that you may have COVID or want to get tested is all down here. At the top of in this bar up here, though, there are also some tips on living well, so well-being tips, mental health and care and support, which are really key sections of the website where you can find more. The other websites that I would recommend everybody familiarise themselves with are the local authority websites for yourself and the cared for person, if they're different to, if it's different location than where you live. Those local authority websites that end in .gov.uk will always have information on what social care is available for you, what support is available for carers and the person that you're caring for, as well as all the usual sort of public amenities and things like that. So that's a sort of third website that I would recommend everybody familiarise themselves with. The next section is on comparison sites. So this is all about shopping around to make sure that you're on the best possible tariffs for your bills, finding cheaper insurance when you have to renew, finding the best possible quotes and that sort of thing. So again, these are pretty much household names. So Money Supermarket is one of the big ones. And what I would say about Money Supermarket is that it is a private for-profit website. So it does take advertisements and it does have paid for results alongside the other ones that come up in your search. So that's just something to be aware of. Still very useful though. And if we look at all of these here, you've got broadband, credit card, energy, which we're obviously interested in today, car insurance, home insurance, travel insurance, and pet insurance. So I have all of those at the moment except travel because I'm not going anywhere. But my greyhound, Mr. Pickles, I found her insurance using this site, and I'm very pleased to have it in case anything ever happens to her. So you can compare, you can run searches based on all of your information. Regarding energy, if you have details of your current energy provider and your current energy usage, you can get the best possible search results there. But if you don't have that information, you can still enter some stuff and it will give you the best possible quotes there. The next one, which I think we all know because of the meerkats, is Compare the Market. And again, it has all of these sections to it down here that you can find. Again, it's a for-profit website, so there will be advertisements in the mix, but still a very useful tool. And in the past, personally, I've run searches on both to find the best possible deal, and it's fairly quick, and they will email you all of the results so that you can go back and click through later if you don't want to do it there and then when you run the search, if you want to take a bit more time to think about it. But this one has, for instance, motorbikes, van insurance and life insurance, otherwise all the same ones as before. Look After My Bills is another comparison site which is really helpful, and this has an additional feature. As it says here, you may have seen it on Dragon's Den. Look After My Bills is the one that I currently use because when you put your details in there, it finds the best deal for you. And then, unlike the other ones, it will automatically do the same thing when your deal runs out. So a year later, it will actually look at what you've used in terms of your energy and then find the best possible provider for you. So actually, it was last month it did that process for me, and it emailed to say who it had found. I happened to be staying with the same provider, and it told me ahead of the switch and when the switch had successfully happened. So if you want to be hands off and just let the site do the work for you, this is a really good option. And finally, another household name for a different reason, Citizens Advice. Now, their energy comparison site is different from the other ones. It's not for profit. So it compares the widest pool of energy suppliers. It's only for your gas and electricity. It doesn't do pet insurance and travel insurance and all those other types like the other websites. But you put in your postcode, you can then add some more details about the tariff that you're on and in your energy usage, and it will give you all of those results. And again, no adverts and no paid for results in there, but only useful for energy purposes. So that's a little tour of some websites. I'm now going to talk about smartphone features and apps. My first caveat of this is that I use an iPhone, and some of the features and apps will be different on Android phones or other providers, but all the features that I run through are available on Android. They'll just look a bit different. and we'll have links to guides to set up all of them in the email that Ellie's going to send out to you as well. So if you're an Android user, you'll get the gist of it, but it will look a bit different in practice. So the first thing, again, I'd be remiss if I didn't plug, was the Jointly app. This is actually Carers UK's only app. It costs £2.99, and then you have it for as long as you want to use it. Jointly is a great tool because it's useful for yourself if you're the only carer for your cared for person, because it helps you put all of the information about them in one place. So you can just about see around this person's thumb. You've got the calendar, so upcoming appointments and past appointments if you need to remember when they took place. You can take notes. You can add tasks to remind you to do things. You can put all of the contacts, medications, and devices that you use on there. So again, that's all in one place. But a lot of people aren't the only carer. And like one scenario that happens a lot is siblings caring for a parent and sharing that care between them. And if they both have Jointly, it means that they can communicate with one another, plan together, and always be on the same page. So there are no surprises or nobody's left out of the loop when it comes to the provision of care. Also, if your cared for person has any home care agencies coming in, a lot of agencies will also use Jointly if you ask them to use for communication and to, again, share all of those things and updates and log things in there that are important, again, to keep everybody on the same page. It's a really useful tool, and a few local authorities provide Jointly for free. So if you are in contact with your social worker, you may be in a position to get that for free. If not, again, it's only £2.99. So getting on to some phone features now. So one thing that a lot of people don't think to do is to use their camera in their phone as a magnifying glass. So I'm zooming in on some fine print that I've got here to show you how that can work. So if you if you open up the camera app, you can actually just pinch like this. And this is a demonstration, and it will zoom in as far as the camera will go, which is in this case 3.1 times. So you can take small prints and really blow it up in real time. You can go, you can use your phone to go from document to document in real time while the camera's zoomed in, and watch it on your screen. The other way that can work, though, is to actually take a photo. So if you take a photo of something with small print on it in focus, you can then open up the photo that you've taken anytime afterwards, and again, use the pinch feature to zoom in. And most of the newer phones have really great cameras, so they'll capture all of the small print in the photo for later viewing. So that's something that you can use for taking photos of the medications or the leaflets that come with medication, which are in tiny print always, just to fit in the boxes. That's a really useful way of using your phone. Scanning documents is something that not a lot of people think of. They think maybe they can take a photo, or if you've got a scanner, or you can go somewhere and photocopy things and scan them in. But you can actually use your phone to scan into a PDF. This is really useful for people that are caring, because there's so much documentation associated with looking after somebody, or somebody seeing various doctors and specialists and things like that. I, for one, as soon as I get something that comes in paper, I use this feature to scan it in. So I've always got a PDF to refer back to later. So I find it really useful. So in an iPhone, you launch the Notes app, which is free. It comes with your phone. And there's a new note here. So you go down to the camera thing and choose Scan Documents. And you can see here, it's finding a document in an otherwise, this is just on my coffee table. It finds a document, it takes a picture, you can turn the pages and it will keep taking pictures for you. And then here you have a PDF, a scan, and you saw it was laying down at an angle on the table, but it's made it rectangular and, framed it perfectly, trimmed off all of the outside, you know, the excess that was on the outside. So that's now a good scan that you can send or keep for your own use. So again, quite a useful and free tool that you can use there. Reader mode is something that I find really useful if I'm using my phone to do some research or do some reading, and I'm using websites that have a lot of adverts or a lot of things on them that are a distraction from actually just sitting down and getting through the reading more like it was a book. So this is on an iPhone again, and I'm just using the standard Safari browser that comes with the iPhone, and it'll just show you how this website looks before and after reader mode, so you can compare the two. So this is looking up on drugs.com, gabapentin, an anticonvulsant. Scrolling through, you can see all of these adverts and things like that that come up. So it's just not as easy on the eye really as it could be. So the alternative is to click up here and select reader mode. And now if you go through, it's just plain text. It's all the same format, but you can even change the colorway to make it as easy on the eyes as possible for whatever works for you. And I understand the beige option that just showed is better for people that have dyslexia. It makes it easier for dyslexic people to read information. So reader mode is something that, again, it's a bit hidden. A lot of people don't realize what these little A's at the top of the screen mean, but it enables you to absorb information a bit more comfortably, I'd like to think. Medical ID is a great feature. Again, it doesn't get a lot of fanfare, so a lot of people don't know about it. It enables you to store vital information about yourself, and you can, if your cared for person carries a phone, about them too. So in the event of an emergency, emergency services can take your phone out and they don't need to unlock it or anything like that, but they can access this information that you load onto it. So I'm just going to take you through that process. So you go on an iPhone into settings, and then you choose health and then medical ID. You put the information that you want to be in there. So I've blanked out my date of birth. I should have blanked out how old I am as well, but I didn't get that far. So it shows that I'm a 41-year-old person. I'm 68 kilos, 6'1", and my brother Daniel is my emergency contact, and it has his number in there. So again, in the event of an emergency, they can take this phone out of your pocket or your bag and go into this and call your emergency contact and let them know that that they need to come and find you or provide some help or information. This isn't all the information that can go on there. You can have information about any medication that's currently being taken can go on there as well, and any health conditions as well can be listed there. So again, as you know, you can put as much or as little on there as you want. You can just put, you don't even need to put your weight and height. You can just have the emergency contact as used there. But again, a really useful thing. So this just shows you what it would look like. So the lock screen on the phone, you select emergency at the bottom. And then this is where you can dial 999 if you want, but the medical ID icon shows up there and they would see it like this. So it's different to the other view, but has the same information on it. So really useful. I recommend everybody set it up because you never know. And now we're going to talk a little bit about connected devices. So those, you may have heard of home automation and devices that could be really useful for people to use just to make life a bit easier. These can look like smart plugs, which may look like this. Sorry, obviously my dog's about to join me and maybe make some noise while I'm presenting. Luckily, she's well insured, as I just said. All right, okay, come on, girl. Smart bulbs, which sometimes look a bit like this and you can control individually. And smart blinds can either be something like this, which is a little motor that moves the cable on the blinds, or it can be built into the blinds itself. So IKEA sells some connected blinds which are quite reasonably priced if you're thinking about replacing your window dressings, and that has a motor in the actual roller at the top of the window that you can control. So the benefits of this, so you can control it from a different room. So I'm really lazy, so I have a smart plug in my bedroom for my electric blanket, because I also hate to be cold, and I can just, using Siri, ask her to switch on my electric blanket 15 minutes before I go to bed, and I have a nice toasty bed to get into. But you can also control things remotely, which means if you live somewhere different, you can control devices in a completely different home just by being connected to the internet. So if you want to have some control over lights, blinds, anything plugged into a socket remotely for the cared for person, that can be something that just helps you to make sure, and you can look on your phone and see what's switched on and what isn't at any one time, just so you can be sure of the environmental controls. So if it's getting warm, you can switch a fan on remotely if it's connected to a connected plug. You might want to do the same for lighting. You might want to do the same for controls for blinds and things like that. The other thing, like I just mentioned, is that there's voice controls. So Siri and Alexa can switch things on. This can be really useful for some people that need care. They might be less able to sort of bend down and switch on plugs and sockets and reach things. They can use Siri or Alexa instead to control devices if it's got one of those smart plugs. What I would say is that all of these things are available on a range of different budgets. So Amazon have smart plugs that start from, I think, as little as something like £7.50 that work with Alexa and with an app, right up to ones which are £50, which, you know, are all singing, all dancing. So there's something to suit most budgets that are available. It's not just for people that have lots of money to spend. Smart heating controls are obviously really important, and we're talking about smart meters today. This is another way in which you could control your energy usage. So smart heating controls mean that you can usually control something from your phone, or you can have a display that you can operate them on. The reasons that these are really useful, so again, first of all, remote controls. You can take over the environmental controls for somebody in a different household, which might be beneficial to a lot of you. It also means that you can switch on or off the heating remotely or from your phone. Before you get home, you can switch the heating on, so you're not having the heating on all day while you're away from the home, for instance. Programming is a lot easier on a lot of smart heating controls, because you can set up complex programs depending on what your lifestyle means. So if you want to have the heating on at the beginning of the day and then off and then on again when you come home from work, that's something that you can program a lot easier on your phone than you could on all of those little dials with little plastic slider things that you have to move on thermostats, for instance. It just makes it a lot easier. And it also means that you can program in either something that's the same for work weekdays and something different at weekends, or you can have a different program for every day of the week if you like, depending on what your lifestyle is, what your pattern is, where you are at any one time. Geofencing is a word that just means finding your phone, your heating controls knowing where your phone is. So with a lot of heating controls, if you leave your home or your phone goes with you, you will get an alert to say you're no longer at home. Do you want to switch off your heating? So that can be a real money saver and can help if you forget to switch off the heating yourself. Some smart heating controls, so I'm thinking of the Tado one here particularly, have a smart location feature for energy savings. So not only does it know when you've left home, it will automatically switch your heating off for you. And it will track how far you are from home and make a decision about whether to switch off the heating altogether or just turn thermostat down a bit so it can easily heat it up again when you return. So this is a really useful one if you've got the sort of lifestyle where it doesn't fit into a sort of a set program for the day, you know, for the day of how your home will be heated. It uses data about the weather, it learns how much energy it takes to heat up your home and uses an algorithm to decide what to do based on where you are. So if you go on holiday, you don't need to think about anything. It will just know that you're in another country and switch it off altogether. As soon as you get back and connect to the internet, it will start to heat your home for you. And if I take my dog for a walk around the block, it will keep my home at the right temperature. But as soon as we start to go a little bit further, so I'm in East London, so if I go to, say, the Olympic Park, it will think, okay, I can turn the heating down a couple of degrees, and when he starts heading back, we'll switch it on again. So a really useful one, and that system pretty much pays for itself over the course of one winter because of how it uses your location in that sort of smart way. Another one, which is a Carers UK connection, is the Pivotal pill dispenser. Now, there's loads of connected pill dispensers out there, and again, to suit all budgets and all needs. But the Pivotal one is worth mentioning because it connects with the Jointly app. So you saw in that app display, there's a devices menu at the bottom. So the Pivotal pill dispenser will actually connect and update information into the app so everyone can see what's happening there. So this takes 28 doses, so that can be, you know, 1 pill a day for 28 days. It could be 4 pills a day for 7 days, any combination of those things. The notifications go in the Jointly app, so whenever a pill's been dispensed or not dispensed on schedule, you'll be notified if you use the Jointly app, and you can schedule it as needed. So, you know, you might have pills that need to be taken at 9 AM, lunchtime, and in the evening. You can schedule it to whatever you need. And like I said, it can dispense 28 doses, so you can plan that accordingly. Home security and cameras. So this is something that a lot of people with caring responsibilities like to use and set up, which are some cameras to monitor the environment, to make sure that they can see where their cared for person is when they can't be there. So there's loads of different cameras available. They can connect with Siri and Alexa if you use those things, or you can use the app that comes with the cameras to see what's happening. You can also have window and door monitoring. So a notification if a door's left open, for instance, using a device, a sensor that fits on your door, one on the door and one on the door frame. And when they move apart, it can alert you. If they remain apart for a fixed amount of time, it can alert you again, which can be really useful. And again, really not very expensive at all. You can view the interior or exterior in real time to just monitor the safety of your cared for person. And something I think we've probably all seen is doorbell and cameras. So those sort of Ring cameras that fit on doorbells. And sometimes they capture some really hilarious things happening on your doorstep. But, you know, if you're in the position of having a cared for person that's not able to answer the door themselves, you can answer it on your phone on their behalf. If they have a delivery, you can say, pop it, and you know, you can put that under under the doormat or around the garden door or fence, or you know, anything like that. You give them instructions. You can speak to them in real time and see what they're doing as well. So that's just some things that are out there, just to give you a taster. There's a lot more available, lots more solutions. If you're interested to find things, there's plenty available on Amazon. You can find all sorts of stuff in their home automation category. And there's things, like I say, to suit all budgets, but this just gives you an overview that there's actually quite a lot of features on your phone already that might benefit you. There's quite a lot of features of online, different sites that can help you with saving money and energy. And yeah, those devices are out there and do often make your caring life a bit easier as well.
Thanks everybody for having me today and for joining the session, particularly on this very warm afternoon. My flat is a little bit like a greenhouse right now, so I hope you're managing to stay a little bit cooler than I am. So my name is Christina and I'm a partnerships marketing manager at the company Smart Energy GB. But I'm also very happy to share my own personal caring journey with you as well. So my mum was diagnosed with cancer in 2016. So I became a carer for her during her cancer before she passed away, alongside with my siblings. And I've also worked at a disability charity, not with Erin, but at a disability charity too. So just wanted to share my experiences there. And in terms of the company that I work for now, so as I said, it's called Smart Energy GB. You've probably not come across the name of us before, but you might know what we do. So we're a not-for-profit government-backed campaign, and we're helping everybody in Great Britain to understand the importance of smart meters and their benefits to people and the environment. So you may have seen some TV adverts talking about it recently. We've got one at the moment of Albert Einstein in the bath, so you might have seen that on TV. But now that Erin has kind of given you an overview of lots of everyday technologies and features that could support you in your caring role, I did want to talk specifically about smart meters and just go through a bit more information specifically in regards to that. So I've got a few slides to show you, and they're going to just give you a bit more detail about what smart meters are, the potential benefits they could bring for you and the person that you care for, as well as running through the installation process should you be interested in getting one. And I'll finish off by running through some additional accessibility options that are also available for smart meters, just to make you aware of that too. What is a smart meter? So a smart meter is the next generation of a gas and electricity meter. They're being installed in homes across Great Britain at no extra cost, to replace traditional analogue meters that most of us have situated under the stairs or in boxes outside our homes. And what smart meters do is they show you how much gas and electricity is being used, as well as what it's costing you. And it displays this on a small device known as an in-home display, which is often also abbreviated to IHD. And in terms of how the smart meter system works, so the smart meter will record your energy usage, and then these meter readings are automatically sent to your energy supplier using a secure system. And the customer will then get an accurate bill reflected with this energy usage. And just to kind of go on to the point that was made earlier, smart meters don't require the internet. They use a separate system using radio waves. So you don't actually need the internet to get a smart meter. We can go on to the next slide. Thanks, Ellie. So on the previous slide, I mentioned this small device. It's called the IHD that comes with your smart meter. So on the photo on this slide, you can see what a typical IHD looks like. So it's that small black device which is next to the phone. If you can't see it particularly well, we will be showing the slides with you, but that's kind of roughly what they look like. But energy suppliers offer slightly different versions. So you may have seen them and they may look different if you go to a kind of friend or a neighbour's house. But despite what they look like, all IHDs should provide the following information and functionality. So the first is that they show you your electricity and or your gas usage. And you can change this between how much you're spending in pounds and pence or how much you're using in kilowatt hours, which is a very technical energy term, kilowatt hours. It's not something that most people are very familiar with, but being able to see pounds and pence is a great way to kind of understand your energy a bit better. You can also see your usage per day, per week, or per month. And you can see whether you're using low, medium, or high amounts of energy, depending on the kind of settings that you put in there. The second thing is it will show you a comparison of your usage in weeks and months. So you can see how much you use this week in comparison to last week, for instance. And then thirdly, the IHD will allow you, gives you the ability to set budgets. So on some IHDs, you can set targets in pounds and pence to help you budget for your daily, weekly, or monthly usage. So your IHD will help you to monitor how you're doing against that target, and then you can make changes around the home to ensure that you remain in budget. We can go to the next slide. Thanks. So how can a smart meter benefit you or the person that you care for? And I should say that, they're completely up to you whether to get a smart meter or not. They're not something that's mandatory currently, but what we wanted to do is just make you aware of the benefits so you can have informed decisions should you wish to get one. So like many carers, helping the person you care for manage your energy is probably one task out of many long lists of jobs that you may perform. But because smart meters send gas and electricity meters directly to a secure network who pass them on to your energy supplier, this means you don't have to take the meter readings, neither does the person that you care for, which means, you don't have to climb on a ladder or some stairs to try and get to a meter if it's, hidden away or it's in the back of a dusty cupboard, anything like that, where they are often very awkwardly situated. And that's so kind of like takes one thing off the list in respects that you wouldn't need to do that. Smart meters also enable accurate billing, which means that the person you care for only needs to pay for the energy that they actually use. So this means you don't have to worry about calling your energy supplier if an unexpected bill comes through, which is much higher than you're anticipating, for instance. And then the IHD that I mentioned earlier, that shows you in near real time the amount of energy that's being used in pounds and pence. So this can make it easier to keep an eye on energy spending habits and just make kind of like small changes around the home to reduce energy where possible. And if you have what's known as a prepay meter, so this is one where you have to often go to a store to top up in order to get your gas and electricity, there is a smart prepay version of this. And the great thing about this is that it allows you to top up online via telephone or text message, or also via smartphone app. So no gas card or electricity key is necessary, but you can also still top up at the shop too. So we think that hopefully this all kind of helps to create and enable greater independence potentially for the person that you care for. And go to the next slide. Thank you. So when arranging for a smart meter installation to take place, all reasonable endeavours can be used by the supplier to identify where the customer has specific needs. So for example, if a carer would like to be present during the installation process, and typically carers are able to make smart meter appointments on behalf of the individuals that you care for, but some suppliers will ask a number of security questions when you arrange the appointment. So it is useful just to liaise with the person that you care for, just to have all this information to hand. And any carriers that are looking to act as a named third party should contact their supplier, the person they care for supplier, to find out how they can be added to the account as a kind of more formal process. And irrespective of the kind of how you get to the appointment, the process should still be the same. So you'll agree to a time slot and a date with your energy supplier. So you can make that appointment over the phone. It can also be done via chat on their website or via email as well. And that just all the different kind of ways of contacting your energy supplier will slightly depend on which one you're with, but there should be plenty of options for you to make that appointment. I should also make the point that an installer should never turn up unexpectedly at anybody's home and say that there's an appointment unless you specifically booked that appointment. So that's just something to be careful of, and just make sure that you're aware of that. And when the installer comes along, they should present a valid identity card upon arrival. And you can ask to see that. So you can ask when the installer arrives to see that if they don't present it up front. It's also a really good idea to make sure you know where the current meters are and just take steps to ensure they're accessible for the installer. So if there's any kind of boxes or anything like that in the way, if possible, if you're able to move them. If not, just let your supplier know that there might be some support needed in that respect. Generally, it takes around 1 hour for an electricity meter and around 1 hour for a gas meter to be installed. It can be less, it can be more, depending on the property, and your energy supply will be cut off during this period. But if you or the person that you support will need to be present for the installation, and if you have any health conditions that are reliant on energy supply, do make that point when the appointment when you're booking the appointment, so that they know that that their health condition is reliant on the energy supply not being cut off, and they'll talk to you about different kind of approaches, and to make sure that that's not going to cause any undue distress or concerns. And if you're having a gas meter installed, the installer will perform a visual safety check on the gas appliances, just to make sure that there's no kind of safety concerns there. And once the smart meter is fitted, the installer should show you and the person you support how to use the IHD, the in-home display that I mentioned, and then they may also offer energy saving advice to you as well. And then just the final slide, thank you. So for anyone who's blind, partially sighted, or has difficulties with dexterity or memory loss, an accessible in-home display, which is known as an AIHD, could be easier to use. So this has been developed in partnership with the Royal National Institute of Blind People, the RNIB, and it includes features such as large buttons and audio functionality to read what's on that display screen. So if this is something that you would like instead of the standard IHD, customers should just contact their energy supplier for further information. But it is worth noting that availability of this may vary, so you'll just need to check that with your supplier. Something that I thought was really worthwhile sharing with you is there's a company called Geotechnology who produces a number of these AIHDs, and they've got a really useful walkthrough videos and support materials on how to use the device. So I've included the link on this slide, and we can send it afterwards as well. So it's well worth looking at that if you want to just know a little bit more detail about how to use that particular device. So I think that's it from me. Thanks for taking the time to listen.